Alright, so welcome to this video. This is something I've never actually done before. I've talked a lot about politics. I've discussed, Biden and Trump and things like that. I definitely have a bias up front. I'm to the left. A lot of like CNN and MSNBC, they all pretend to be neutral, but they're really not. They have an establishment bias. But I'll come right out and say I'm a Bernie supporter. I supported Tulsi. I'm a left-wing person. I'm not a Democrat by any stretch. I don't like Joe Biden. I don't like Trump. I don't even really like the Green candidate, Howie Hawkins. It seems that his campaign has been involved in some fuckery. If I had my choice, obviously Bernie's out. If I had my choice, it'd probably be Jesse Ventura. It seems that he might be able to broker the convention for the Greens and maybe go forward there with securing that nomination. So I'm going to try to keep this video as brief as possible. Again, I've never made one of these before, so it might take a little bit longer. I'm going to kind of gauge it, and then maybe every few weeks or every month as things change, I'll kind of give my opinion on what's going on. What this pretty much is, kind of obviously, is just the map, the 538 electoral votes that are given out, and kind of where I see them. Today is June 11th, 2020. I'm going to try to get the video up today or tomorrow. So let's just start with like the safe states. So like the Democrats and the Republicans, where they're pretty much not going to lose. I'm actually not going to put Georgia there at the moment, or North Carolina. I believe it's the first district that usually goes red. Again, I'm new to this, so forgive me if I put some up incorrectly. Yes, like New York's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. These are all pretty much states that are not really going to abandon their preferred candidate anytime soon. So what you have to start out, and I might be missing one or two. Oh, there's one. I might be missing a couple because again I'm new. But when you pretty much like look at what's like pretty much safe, you have 191 for Joe Biden and 175 for Donald Trump. Now I definitely want to give some leans because it does seem that there are some states that are kind of like wish-wash. And again, it's early. It's about 5 months till election day, more or less, and things are going crazy, and we're in an economic depression, and some people are kind of trying not to blame Trump for that, but at the same time, a lot of people are pointing out that the economy was so unstable already that one or two missed paychecks collapsed it. So that's kind of being shown by the pandemic. Oh, I swallowed wrong. So Arizona's been very interesting lately. I've been looking at a lot of poll numbers, and it does actually seem that Trump is going to edge it out, but it's definitely leaning red. It's definitely leaning in the Republican column. And if, like, for example, someone like Mike Pence or maybe a Ted Cruz or even a Mitt Romney, someone that wasn't as loved by the base as Trump is, would probably lose Arizona. If the Democrats had run Bernie Sanders, or if they had run maybe Warren or someone else that's a little bit more progressive, there's a good chance that Arizona would have flipped. I actually did forget these. So yeah, Colorado and New Mexico are not going anywhere for the Democrats. Utah is not going anywhere for the Republicans. Most of this stuff in here is pretty safe. Texas is definitely leaning more Democrat than it has in the past. I don't actually think that we'll see a presidential election changed, or a presidential election anytime in the near future that they're going to vote for the Democrat, again, depending on who the candidate might be. If you get someone progressive like AOC or Nina Turner or anybody else that Bernie Sanders might, endorse, there's a good chance Texas could maybe like just hit Democrat, maybe by like a point. But I'm definitely interested to see the Senate races and the congressional races, because there's a good chance that that Texas puts a lot more Democrats in Washington than it used to. So over here, Pennsylvania, I'm pretty much I'm sure that's going to go back to the Democrats. just because Trump didn't deliver on a lot of his promises, and he said he was going to keep jobs and all that kind of thing. And a lot of people registered in the primary. I remember reading an article back in 2016 or 2015 that like 25,000 people changed their registration so that they could vote for Trump. So we all kind of knew that Pennsylvania was going to go red in the general. But he didn't deliver on a lot of his things, and like I said, we're in a depression right now. So, excuse me. I definitely see it going back blue. Up here, I'm going to give the Democrats back Minnesota like they had last time. I'm going to say that maybe Wisconsin and Michigan are going to lean Democrat. They might even go a little bit stronger, but I say lean just because I'm sure there's a lot of people up there that are still kind of, maybe on the Trump train just because, again, Biden's not a very good candidate and there's not a lot of enthusiasm around him. Again, if they had nominated Bernie Sanders, I'd be giving them a solid blue. But the Rust Belt, the blue wall the Democrats had for so long, it went for Obama and Biden twice, and it went for Clinton twice. So I'm definitely seeing it also went for Kerry and Gore. So I'm definitely seeing them going back blue. I definitely think Trump kind of shook things up by saying, I'm going to bring the jobs back and all that kind of stuff, but he's actually outsourced just about as many jobs as Obama did, so they really didn't keep his promise on that. And then I'm going to give Ohio to Trump just because Ohio's kind of leaning red. I'm actually thinking that maybe in 24, if things keep up, we're going to kind of take Ohio out of the swing column because it's no longer really a swing state. It's kind of just going to the Republicans. It's been going red for quite a while, even though it was pretty close in 2012. Excuse me. But it did end up going for Barack Obama. So we're going to go to Virginia. Virginia's had a lot of controversy in the last 4 years. I know a lot of people are kind of trying to decide which way it's going to go, but they did elect a Democratic governor, so I'm going to kind of give that to the Democrats. I definitely see it going blue. Now, I'm going to give North Carolina to Biden as well. I'm going to give it a lean blue. I definitely think that some of the South is kind of changing the demographics. We saw, like in 2017, they elected Alabama elected a Democratic senator for the first time in 20 plus years. So I definitely see that some of the area down there is kind of shifting a little bit. In the same way that we saw, the surprise in 2016 where some of the Rust Belt states went to Trump instead of Hillary Clinton. So I definitely, excuse me, see things changing. The South used to kind of vote as a block, but I don't see that happening anymore. And a lot of the older voters, like around that area, South Carolina, North Carolina, in that area, really came out for Joe Biden in the primary. And I think that they'll come out again in full force for him in the general. So it kind of shows that a lot of older people are just, they want to go back to normal. They don't want to deal with Trump anymore. And, I definitely understand that mindset. But, it's not really my opinion to give. It's kind of like looking at the numbers, looking at his approval ratings in certain states is where I'm getting these numbers. Now, I'm going to give Georgia to Trump, but I'm going to lean it towards Trump because that's another one. Now, Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, has been involved in some fuckery. He pretty much cheated to become governor in 2018, and they were cheating in the primaries again this year. So he's probably going to try to pull a fast one and probably give his state to Donald. But if all things were fair, I would say that right now Biden would lose it slightly. Like it's going to be something late in the night that they're going to end up calling. It'll be too close to call most of the night, most likely. So that's one that it could be a shocker. So Biden still has yet to reveal his VP. People are saying, Stacey Abrams could secure Georgia for him. She was unable to win the governorship in 2018. Again, Brian Kemp was kind of fucking around. But it definitely seems like the numbers are changing down there, and there's a lot more turnout down there among minorities. So it's a good chance that if the Republicans hang on to Georgia, that it's a very slim lead. And again, if maybe he picks Stacey Abrams as his VP, or if he picks a decent VP, maybe someone a little bit more progressive, like Warren or Val Demings, who I'm actually kind of partial to, I think it could be very close, and maybe in the next month or so, if I do another one of these videos, if things are changing, then if there's still the Black Lives Matter movement, taking to the streets and everything and pushing things to the left, hopefully, we would see Georgia go blue. And then the surprise that might get me some mean comments, I'm giving Biden Florida. Now, one of the reasons that Bernie lost, and there's a lot of reasons, and I love Bernie, I'll always love Bernie, but one of the things that hurt him was older voters. My generation didn't really turn out to vote, unfortunately, as much as we are online, trolling and doing our thing and having our fun and everything, but we really didn't step it up when we needed to, and the older voters kind of came out and stuck it to us. So I definitely see the older voters in Florida coming out for Biden. Plus, there's a little more than 1 million brand new voters just because they voted to allow former prisoners to vote. So there's going to be about 1 million new people in the electorate for them down there, and I definitely see that going to the Democrats. So right now I have 318 to 220. I have Joe Biden being elected the 46th president. Not thrilled about that, but then again, I wouldn't be happy with Trump winning either. So again, I give you my bias up front. I'm a Bernie guy. I'm a lefty. I am a democratic socialist, so I'm not thrilled with two corporatists running for office. Maybe if Biden picks Val Demings or Warren, I could stomach Warren. Maybe I'll vote for him. I haven't really decided who I'm going to vote for. I'm hoping Jesse Ventura wins the Green Party nomination. Excuse me. Alright, but damn, this video ran long. Sorry about that. I'll try to keep it a little bit shorter next time, if I can. This is, my prediction for the moment. Today is June 11th, 2020. Thank you very much.